Hello, I'm Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram, and this is fucking talking shit with Eagle, episode 424. Hopefully, you guys had a great day. I sure did. Got a great guest for you tonight, all the way from South Africa. Green Hill Farms. How you doing, my friend? You want to tell us how you're doing today and where they can find you?
Hey, yeah, shit, we're far away from where you are, other side of the world. And yeah, we have morning. So by us, we have sun shining or starting to come up, 6:30 in the morning, and wonderful day to be growing. And how things by you?
Great here. Beautiful day. Well, beautiful night here in northern Michigan. And I'm looking forward to hanging out with you, my friend, getting to know you. This is pretty much our opportunity to get to know some of the people in the cannabis community around the world and the folks we follow on Instagram. Get a little bit further in depth to about them and how they got into their cannabis journey that they're in today. So, uh, first and foremost, what I usually ask my guests is, when was the first time cannabis came into your life? When was the first time you seen or used the plant?
So that's an interesting story, actually. I was 14, 15, and my cousin came to me with a Durban poison joint. Now 14, 15, shit, dude, that's like 25 years ago, I think. Geez, my maths could be bad this time of morning. So he gave me this joint. We smoked it overlooking Durban, which is a coastal town on the East Coast. And we ended up going afterwards to this one nightclub on a Friday night, and all we did was literally sit there and laugh at everyone. We couldn't get past just giggling, laughing our heads off. And great experience. He didn't really smoke much after that. Neither did I. We were more actually interested in just growing the plant and how it grew, and it's just the entire character of it, the energy it gave off. We just loved that. And, I mean, at school, fair enough, there's probably lots of people that would say they continued smoking, but my parents were a bit strict, so I had to be careful. But then it just dissipated for a few years in my high school career, and then I literally traveled 22 countries in 20 years, and I kid you not, dude, every single country within 1 week I had my weed. There was never a time that I was not able to get weed anywhere in the world. And it was like, it was my sleeping medication. I didn't realize that I actually had depression at that stage, but it was actually helping it too, which was great. So, and eventually many years later, my dad got cancer. And I was like, okay, shit, fuck it, let's grow you some weed. So, my dad, being a very anti-cannabis and all of this, ended up enjoying one joint with me before he passed, which is a wonderful thing. And yeah, I ended up making him oil. So I made an oil that literally took his PSA from 5,000 down to 5, keeping it around 5 to 50 for about a year or two. And then nothing could help anymore. I think it was just stress and everything going on in the world and shit like that. But yeah, then he pretty much quickly deteriorated after that. And after that, I was like, fuck it. This seems like a great opportunity. I quit being a chef. I was a chef for 20 years, retired. And since then, just been growing weed, non-stop. and growing and growing and growing the business, trying to work around the South African law, because our law is a bit complicated compared to what other places are, because we don't actually have legalization. We have decriminalization, falling under a very similar banner as the Spanish do, where you can have, well, the Spanish say you can have 2 plants per person. Here we've got 4 flowering plants per person, 8 per household. So you fall under quite a tight bracket here that they put you under in the moment. But speaking to people in government and all of that, it seems like things are hopefully going to change to the better soon, but people are managing to work with it. This is the amazing thing. Anywhere you go in the world and you want cannabis growers, they figure a way to work around anything that is given to them. And that to me blows me away. You know, like, I isolate myself, by the way, because of our laws. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I am very far from any towns. Just because of safety, you know, like, what I'm doing is governmentally within our legislation. Well, the legislation has been written, but within what the High Court has stated the decriminalization is, based on the fact that everyone has the right to cannabis. So, for instance, say somebody who doesn't have the ability to grow, one can't grow, every time I put a seed in the ground, it just dies, or you live in a city where you don't actually, you don't have the electricity. Electricity here is extortionately expensive. I mean, literally, it's a joke. It's cheaper to go and get yourself probably a windmill and put it outside. But the point of it is that, so we do a club method in South Africa. So say, for instance, I'm a grower. I love growing. I have a passion for it. I know how to do it. I do it 100% organically. But now somebody who has no ability to do this will go to I have a partner. We have basically we're starting a shop, not a shop, but it's a membership club. So this is how you have to banner fly this as a membership club. So the membership club will have the members who come to the club. The club then connects you with the grower. So you basically come into the club, you sign a document stating this is a contract between you and the grower. You have X amount of plants and veg. You have 4 flowering plants. And when you are done, per plant, you get 90 grams. So obviously, 90 grams is a wonderful thing to work with when you're working with pots, but when you're working outdoor, all of us know that your plants are a lot bigger. So we work within that. So you get your membership gets broken down into those 90 gram portions so that you have more, but you can only have access to that 90 grams at one given moment in time, so that we don't break the trafficking law in South Africa. That's just a quick outline. Sorry, I babble a lot. Let me try and roll a joint here.
Please do. I'm doing the same. What are you rolling over there? What are you getting ready to smoke on?
A mix of Mandarin Skittles by Ethos and GMO Donny Burger by World's Strongest Strains. I've actually enjoyed these 2 strains tremendously.
Yeah, they say that Donny Burger is a good one. I haven't had it yet myself, but I've heard great things about it. That's for sure.
I grew out a few. Funny enough, there came out a few phenos on the Donny Burger, but every single one, it is an amazing high. Some of my clients have just been like, "Listen here, dude, that's far too strong." But the answer is smoke less. But to a day smoke, I think it is amazing. I think they've done really well with that one. I have actually taken the advantage of utilizing some of the pollen. I had a few males. I also had a few females of my own that I utilized some GMO pollen on. And those, so far, the plants look amazing. I've got 60 something phenos going for the GMO in the moment.
That's a nice little hunt there.
It was 100, but shit, there's so many males.
So, what was your first grow like? Let's rewind a little bit and kind of blew through some of that. What was the first? What was it? Your dad that made you grow for the first time? Was it growing for him for the cancer? I believe you said.
No, actually, it was traveling around. My first grow was obviously with my cousin. We grow a little Durban poison. He used to grow it in his backyard, and then he used to just chop it down and give it to the garden boy, and that was our joy in it, you know, like. And then later on, it came with traveling, because in some countries, weed's expensive. Like or sometimes actually weed is very scarce. So you can get hash. Living in Denmark, for instance, in Copenhagen, literally, I kid you not, down the road was the hash dealer. I'd literally walk out my apartment 5 minutes down the road. And what, I can't remember the nationality of them. Tunisian, somewhere on those lines, Moroccan, those type of folk. And I used to love going chatting with them, because obviously I wasn't Danish, so it made it odd. And those days, when you said you came from South Africa, most of the time, the first comment was, "But you're white." I'm like, yeah, but there are white people in South Africa. Prove it. So I have an Austrian passport, so I have the advantage that the green mamba, as they call it, the South African passport, is a nightmare to travel with. I kid you not, it is a nightmare. But because of having an Austrian passport, I had a South African, so I used to just show my South African passport. People like, "No, there's white people down there." Oh, shit, yes. So then growing started actually in these European countries, especially the ones that hash didn't. I wasn't able to get hash. So I started to try indoor grows. So I used to build a box out of wood that would sit in the corner of a random room with like some decorations on top, completely sealed. Like you couldn't see any light coming out of these things. And but you could hear the vibration of the fans. So people were like, "What's this?" Like, no, it's just upstairs. And they're like doing stuff, crank on the music, and people wouldn't hear anything anymore. So first growing was basically in these little wooden boxes. So I'd leave obviously the box behind when I moved country, because you're not going to, I had a 25-kilo bag. I didn't have time to carry a box on my shoulder as well. So I'd live a year in a country, have 1 or 2 grows in there, depending on how much work I had, how much weed I needed, and jump to the next country. And then figure it out all over again, start the job. And some countries I actually had the advantage of growing outdoors. And some in very dangerous places like Austria, for instance, who they're still very illegal, which is quite odd, because they have their view on weed is this: as long as it's in a vegetative state, it's legal. The moment it flowers, it is illegal. So you can have a vegging plant, but you cannot have a flowering plant. So we used to go and grow up in the Alps, plant these things, hike up there. And every time you hike up, it was always the question of, shit, do you think our weed's still going to be there? Because it's hunters. I mean, it's hunting trails. You have to make sure you're off those trails. But there was fun in it. I think the joy of figuring out how the hell you're going to get your weed was more exciting to me than finding a job. Honestly.
That's a pretty well traveled there. What had you going from country to country, I guess, if you don't mind it.
Well, some people ask the question of what were you running from? I like to think I was running towards, but I didn't know what I was running towards. I love traveling, dude. So my dad was a pulp and paper and pulp engineer. Being from Europe, there you can study at South Africa. You couldn't. So he was actually in South Africa at that time, the only paper and pulp diplomaed paper and pulp engineer. So Monty Boardman obviously, but he built their factories for him. So we literally moved as a child every 3 years. New like Joburg, then I was in Durban, then back in Joburg, then Durban, then another. So there's all this moving going on. So it naturally felt okay for me to move around. So I'd fly to a country, I'd learn their culture, their food, and I'd get bored and go, okay, I've learned enough, I've had enough, I want more knowledge. It was always this search for more knowledge, understanding more, getting to know more people. So with traveling so much, your friends, you must understand you have a loss in that, because to keep contact with everyone you've been in with the country takes up a lot of time, which you don't really have. But you meet the most fascinating fucking people in the world. Unbelievable. I mean, I've been in the States. I was in Florida. I worked on the super yacht industry, did the whole of the Bahamas. We did up to New York. The saddest thing is I've never been to the West Coast. It's the only part I still want to go to. But that's basically it. It was just traveling, moving around, learning, and then obviously weed was the one thing that brought everything together for me. It was, I don't know, you got to figure out what people liked. Like certain countries were hash based, and where did they get their hash from? What type of quality hash did you have? Then you had other countries that were more down the bud line, and then it was like, what strains were coming out. I mean, back in those days, we were still talking about your basic cheeses, your skunks, I mean, there wasn't anything hugely fascinating about the strains. I mean, they weren't extremely strong those days either. I mean, today we're cracking 40% THC, and this is like fucking crazy shit, which is messing with people's tolerances. But I don't know, what do you prefer? Where is for you the level of THC that is comfortable? Taking it from the fact that we have plants that reach from your basics of like 7 to 14%, going all the way up to 40%. What sits with you?
I'm a pretty heavy smoker, to be honest with you. So THC content really isn't a thing for me. I think it's more over the in particular cultivar and what it's made up of. I get some sativa strains with a peppery terpene profile that can be 30 that actually absolutely give me anxiety right off the bat. Halfway through the joint, I'm ready to just put it down. I've got a neck ache from just the anxiety of it. But then I can turn around and smoke something that's not as sativa-ish, definitely not that peppery terpene profile, and it could be as strong as it could be. I'll smoke it until I'm out. Just straight right out. And I'm comfortable with that. So I'll take pretty much in anything in between. You know, uh, I'm not too particular on anything. There's so many strains out there. Uh, I don't tend to get drawn to any one. I'm still out there trying to crack as many seeds as I can. I haven't found that necessarily golden strain that I keep forever. Even six shooter. it's a good high where I can still feel uppy to do something. But if I go too far or try to double up on it, I'm done. It's time for a weed nap. It's just no coming back from that. And it's just like that. It's like one extra hit. You're like, whew, oh shit. I'm I'm done for a minute. So, I don't know.
So I found something very interesting on that. So obviously, I mean, especially with pheno hunting, I've got indicas, sativas, running different kinds. So you always end up smoking like a strain for like 2 or 3 days, just to really get the feeling of it, how it works with you, what the high is on that. Now, the problem with indica is that it knocks you for 6. Like by day 3, you feel like you're taking sleeping pills in the morning. And I did start to find that a friend of mine actually who grows CBD was like, dude, you must smoke some CBD joints in between. And I was like, what? He says, yeah, dude, it'll give you that rush that you're after that stops putting you in the couch. I was like, no. So I tried this actually. I have a few like high CBD strains, and I was feeling a bit like tired. And smoked one of these CBDs, dude. I was up running around doing my shit again, no issues. Just in between, smoke like 1 THC, 2 THC, then hit a CBD, gives you energy back, go back to the THC. Because too many CBDs will make you tired. After 4 CBDs, 4 CBDs, I'm ready to go to sleep, dude.
It's good to know. So are you still carrying the buzz but get active again? I guess is my question.
Wait, say that again.
So are you still kind of retaining the high, but just got your active side back again with the CBD joint break there?
It actually keeps your high going. It feels like you are not on a roller coaster, but more like on a train. That it just, if you time it right and you get that CBD joint in just before you start feeling tired, just keeps it going. Literally, dude, I don't smoke cigarettes. That's my smoke. And I'll wake up in the morning, I'll do my duties, get them over with, have a coffee, a joint. That's how I start my day. So I don't know. Somebody said I should take a tolerance break and see how it then treats me, but it's season. There's no time for tolerance breaks in season.
I agree with that. So with that being so well traveled and knowing where you ended up now, do you wish you would have known or had a little bit more of an idea of the path you were going to be on? 20 countries, that's a lot of possibilities to collect some amazing genetics. Or did you? There's a possibility that you did.
Actually, I just enjoyed smoking and tasting. I didn't collect genetics. I didn't actually think about it. I was a chef. So I became a molecular chef. So like your Heston Blumenthal, your Adrian Ferran Adrian. Sorry, I always swap his name around. Fucking dyslexia. So it's basically, if you want to put it into thing, I can take a carrot and turn it into caviar for you. That type of food. When you don't know what's on your plate, everything is an experience and all of that. And so for me, the learning of that took over so much of my time that thinking about becoming a cannabis grower was like the last thing on my mind. It was like I didn't even contemplate it yet. Cannabis tried to pull me in a few times. So my first visit to Amsterdam, I think I was 23. I went to do a flair bartending course in Amsterdam. I thought that was clever. Never chow a box of mushrooms before you do an exam. The only advice I can give. Because the crossing lines on the road ended up coming to the 3rd story for me to walk down and outside. So yeah, I didn't study. I passed with flying colors. Don't know how. Maybe this was just the colors that passed me. But so walking around, I went, and obviously being a cannabis fanatic, that was the first time I bought seed, actually. And I bought something called Maple Leaf Indica. It's a Sensi seed, one of their older seeds. And to me, one of the most amazing plants I'd ever grown. So before I get back there, so I walked into the cannabis college, and true as Bob, they asked if I wanted to do an apprenticeship. That was the first time. I think there were 3 times that I was offered to come into the cannabis industry, but fear, dude. Fear is the greatest thing that drives us not to follow our dreams. So yeah, no, I didn't do it until my dad got cancer, and I was like, fuck it. There's nothing to lose. It's only to gain. So I grew my first, how many plants did I grow? I think my first 20 outdoor plants, like serious outdoor plants. They ended up being, I think my first plant was 3 meters tall and 2.5 meters wide, one plant, Christmas tree style. I didn't know anything about topping. I didn't know, fuck all, dude. All I knew was to dig a 1 cubic meter hole and layer it like lasagna style. That is how I started. Like composts, the natural sand, because there's a very unique sand here. There's very little organic in it. It's like 99% sand, 1% silt type of stuff. And it's hard, compressed. It's like nothing you can do with it. So yeah, dug a hole. I did lasagna style with different nutrients. At that stage, it was still not 100% organic because I didn't know KNF. I didn't know any of these methods yet. I was a chef who decided he wanted to know how to grow. Started a vegetable garden at the same time. So it was reverse engineering myself, basically. I was going back to source. I stopped wanting to manipulate food for the customer, but I wanted to now grow it to understand what food is. Where does it come from? What does it do? How can I manipulate it prior to it getting to the kitchen? And if you want information on that, Blue Hill Farms in New York State actually talk about that if you're interested. They're basically taking the way things should be on the farm back to how it was. Proper rotations, how to grow things, no salts. So and that is where the interest started to come in then with, how do I grow cannabis without salts and without all of this? Because you must understand, I'm in a farming community. Salts are readily available for me. I mean, that's all they use here. So I went, okay, cool, let's learn. So I learned Jadam, how to basically putrefy all your nutrients. And Jadam was very interesting. It taught me a lot about the breakdown of, well, pretty much I could break down anything in my garden. Then I found earth, what are they called again? Dragonfly earth medicine. Those people blew my mind. Like I thought I had an understanding of what I can do in a garden until I met these people. Well, I didn't meet them. I got to do a course where they were part of it. And it blew me away that what you could do. So that's when I started digging deeper into, wow, now I can make my own microorganisms. Now I can make my own nutrients. But then KNF came into the picture. And then I started to figure out that so like humans, we all need nutrients. So there's actually a beautiful chart on the internet, the NPK of everything. So literally NPK, I went as a chef, went through recipes And I was like, okay, so a carrot is this, a thing is this, a thing is this. And then I started to talk to the guy, what's a KNF Gardens? And he shared his one recipe of his full bloom ferment with me. And I was like, well, fuck, that's actually quite interesting, because what I've been working on is very similar to this recipe you've got. So I tried his stuff, because basically what I was doing was this is a joke. So I was making each component individually and then adding them together at the end. Because then in my head, that's how cooking works. I make an item, and then it all comes together on a plate. Not thinking, in nature, things are slightly different. They don't need to all be done individually. We can do it together. And that's when I started to take things from being young fruit to perfectly aged to moldy, fallen, rotten fruit. And then I take those three and you start to make your nutrients from that. Because now your plant, your microbes, your soil is gaining on microbes in different generations in a way. Because what your plant is dealing with at a fruit that's not ready, a fruit that is ready, and a fruit that's breaking down already, have three different stages of microbial life. And I was wanting to capture all of those. So I started to do that. And then I started to feed my plants with it. And it seems last year my plants really liked it. And it gave me amazing yield. So that main garden actually that I had going last year, I ended up having also 3-meter trees. That one this year has turned to no-till. So it's also a cubic meter dug down. That was the original ground that's there. So this is year number 4 now, and it's first year no-till. So I'm quite excited to see how that is going to perform. And then I've got 2 hugel beds of 10 meters. They are running in their second year no-till. And then I've got a new section I set up this year. It's my own substrate that was all wild crafted. There's no perlite in it. There's no lava rocks in it. There's nothing. It's all based on grasses, straws, stones. It's utilizing corn husks in different stages. So some whole, some broken down. Utilizing wood chips. It's like literally whatever I can find within, say, 100-meter radius of where I am. I collect. I made it into a pile, and then I let it go, sit, and I cooked it, and I turned it, and so far it's looking quite good. It seems to be performing, but we will see now with the new ones how well they're going to do. So it's an exciting, every year for me is new and exciting. Let's put it that way. Nothing gets boring here.
Man, you sure have lived a pretty entertaining life so far. That's for sure. Also, I think it's pretty cool. You've mentioned two past guests. Dragonfly Earth Medicine was here last week, and KNF Gardens was a guest. It's 329, I believe.
Actually, I think I watched that whole episode with you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, the thing is we should all learn from each other in this industry. The thing is everyone's got techniques that are different. I mean, KNF Gardens plants are beautiful, dude. And he utilizes the same feed every single week. And I find that fascinating, whereby the only difference between him and me is I believe in diversity. So my feed every week is just different. Same method, same type of style, all organic. Just today I feel like feeding a grass jadam. Tomorrow I feel like, or next week I feel like feeding KNF. Then I feed something else. Every week I feed them different microbes. So I utilize 2 microbe companies in South Africa, Biodine and Explo Grow. And then the other 2 weeks in the month, I utilize my own microbes that I've made. So that there's always diversity going on. There's always the disadvantage, which I will agree. With diversity comes the problem of you may feed something and you don't know what has caused the problem in your plants, because you're feeding such a diverse diet. But I have found the diverse diet for me works, because my plants, I think of it like myself. So this is the funny thing. I went from being a chef of people to a chef of plants. I wouldn't want to eat the same thing every week. That's how I think about it. I go, I can't, I mean, if I cook for myself, I cook tapas. I don't like eating the same bite over and over and over again. It makes me bored. I prefer not to eat them. So I think of my plants the same way. And I go, I don't want them to be bored. I want them to be excited. I want them to go, ooh, what food are we getting this week? You know? And then it builds that diversity in my soil, because now with Jadam method, you've got, what are they? Anaerobic microorganisms, right? Because they are produced by no aeration. On KNF, we more with the idea of fermentation, which is bringing air and bubbling and making teas and all of that. So I'm allowing my plant to have this. And the most important thing for me is my heat. I had 35 degrees yesterday. We're not even in summer. What happens? My soil dries out. My soil's too wet. My soil, everything can happen. I can get pissed down rain for the next week. We expect to have 4 days of rain, non-stop, 20 mils a day. So I need to make sure that I have microbes in my soil that are aerobic and anaerobic. So when there's too much water in there, I've got microbes that can still do the job because they can survive without air. Then I've got microbes that can survive with air. And you'll probably find through the layering that they sit in different places as well. So the root system they will feed the root system in different places. At least that's how I think it happens.
Makes good sense in theory, that's for sure. And I also like your mindset on like the changing up of the feeding. They are a living organism. And you're right. I mean, I agree with everything you said. I'm the same way. I get tired of eating the same stuff over and over and over. I mean, when we talk about even the plant, we've already discussed how like we kind of can get sick of smoking the same strain for too long. We mix it up. So it makes kind of perfect sense that the plants would be very similar in what they want to eat. I dig it. I dig it.
Well, I started also past my I've got it somewhere here. So many books around me. It's what was it called? Oh, there we go. Is it this one? Yeah. Yeah. The Secret Life of Plants. At the top there, you can see. So this guy does an experiment. So I've had fascinating conversations with some people that say that plants do not have a central nervous system, and for that they are not a living organism. And I always call bullshit on this. And they say, but they don't have a central nervous system. Well, they don't have a central nervous system like we do, but the plants can register everything. So after reading this book, which was really fascinating, was when a plant connects with you, you plant the plant. It connects with you. It's your plant. The moment you plant that shit, it's yours. If you have an exciting moment, now and it's funny, it has to work on the polars of extremes. So extreme pain or an extreme orgasmic moment. Your plant will react to it. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. It'll spike on a graph. If you sit there and have the thought of going to cut a leaf or branch off your plant, it spikes. It shows it has registered something. If you get up with the intention of walking towards your plant, it spikes again. If you take the scissors to cut the plant, it spikes again. It has registered you with your intention already, with your thought. The plants, so therefore plants can think. They can accept energy, vibrations. Plants move in a direction when they need to grab, for like climbing plants. They sit there and they lean towards something. How do they know it's there? How do they know something is there for them to hold on to? And then feeding. They work with the ground. They work with the climate. If it's, I mean, my plants don't, people have said, when you have extreme heat, the biggest problem is you lose terpenes, because obviously they evaporate. Terpenes are volatile. Yet my terpenes are off the chart on my weed, even though I have these extremely hot days. And I believe it's all got to do with the ecosystem. It's all got to do with the plant. It's connecting. It's love it gets. I mean, I literally would, so I hand feed, I irrigate my water, but I hand feed. And the reason is love and abundance. Love and abundance to every single feed. Every plant gets to the water. I speak to the water, it goes love and abundance, and it gets it. Love and abundance. And they will react to how you are with them. So if you have a panicky state and you're worried because there's so much rain and you don't know what's going to happen with your plants, they are going to react accordingly. Does that not mean that something is occurring in them? If you go and you cut a branch off, it's reacting. Is that not a central nervous system in a way? So by us saying that plants are, well, some people say not living, we know obviously as cannabis growing, they're living organism, but if you can take it as far further than that, and you can believe of it being an entity, like you and me, an entity, a living entity, and converse with it and speak to it and treat it as such, you will have a whole different grow on your hands every day. It will work with you. You overwater it, don't worry. We all make mistakes. It will help you. But if you're addicted to your plants and you overwater them, they're going to fucking die. Sorry.
I very much agree with that as well. We do connect with them through, like, I believe, like a frequency level. I mean, we all operate on some type of frequency. Our heart puts out a steady beat, which is a constant frequency. Cells move and put off some kind of vibration frequency. So I believe you're right that at some level we can connect like that. It's pretty amazing stuff. It's an amazing plant that we have in front of us. That's for sure. For sure. Oh. Very spiritual plant as well. So
yeah.
Have you ever seen, I've had an episode with a cat, Midnight Roots, that has kind of worked with the same kind of principle as they kind of talked with in that book. And he's putting alligator clips on his plants and kind of feeding it into I believe it's like a guitar pickup is basically what it feeds into. And he's picking up those signals kind of in the plant. So, and it's weird how the different parts of the plant, how they accelerate, basically. They can be faster, slower, different wavelengths. But there's definitely something going on there. To say that plant isn't a smart plant is crazy. It's just we don't understand how it's thinking, I think, how conscious it is.
Even let's put it this way: even Hollywood's been eluded by plants. They made a movie about where the trees ended up sending out a pheromone that killed all the entire population. I would not honestly be surprised if plants and animals had one day the ability to go, wait a second, we're far more intelligent than UX. I just would not be surprised. I think sometimes we should remember that we are very insignificant in this entire planet, and we should realize this and start working with it. I believe very much in the idea of working with planet Earth, Gaia. There's the four sides are the universe, Gaia, the sun, and the moon. With those four, you have the ability to do anything here. And whatever you choose to do is, you must make the best of it and the most of it, and utilize these four energies to become amazing. And when you go into growing, if you start to work with the moon cycles and watch the sun and how it works with your plants, and Gaia and the energy she brings towards the root systems. I mean, if we really want to go down science, I mean, you can utilize vibrations. So there's certain frequencies you can give to the top of your plant that will, during flower, make your plant think it's being attacked and cause more production of your trichomes, your second metabolites. And then you can do the same thing with frequencies into your root system, where you can put basically send either electrical charges, or you can send frequencies to your roots to stimulate them again to grow in a direction. So there's frequencies. I don't have them all. I've got them somewhere here. But there's certain frequencies you can use that will make your roots actually grow in a direction. So what you can do is, if you've got a pot, you can put a sound at the bottom, especially if you've got a small clone, and force those roots within days to grow down. And the same thing you can do on the top with frequencies. You can force your plant to start growing outward. And they are very fun experiments. Very fun to do. To do them on a large scale outdoors is very difficult. They can work really well on an indoor scale. Sound waves, for instance, if you utilize, I think it was about 90 dBs on your plant, and you throw, I think it was about, what did we, 300, what was it? No. Sure, I don't have it in my head right now. I know we worked a lot with, I think it was 440 hertz. But yeah, 332s. Yeah, we played through a few of them, and you hit these plants with these vibrations for a certain amount of, say, I think we did 20 minutes at a time, and then you foliar feed them. Their pores have opened so wide that they absorb that foliar feed, that you can actually, on a normal feed, burn your plants. You can give them so far less nutrients, and they absorb far more. Yeah, frequencies and what they can do with plants is the same as how does music affect you. If you stand in front of a speaker and you've got this nice thing going through you, it feels great, but change that frequency slightly and it could make you feel ill, isn't it? We're utilizing frequencies to heal cancers as well. We did this many years ago. We're only bringing it forth now. But we could start growing our plants utilizing frequencies if we wanted to. Like, for instance, a plant wants to repel insects, because insects are there to what? Your plant is unhealthy, your pests come to take away the plant. It's not so. I'm losing track on that one, sorry. That sometimes happens. So if you can make the frequency of, say, bees flying around will cause your trichomes to the plant to expel more trichomes because of the sound and the vibration. So these techniques, if I am running a proper greenhouse, like a sensory deprivation, light dip, full closed aircon, the 9 yards, I will utilize all of these little bits and pieces, because you can have such a huge increase in yield. You can't be in the room most of the time, because if you think about it, 100 or say 90 dBs, 20 centimeters from the canopy of your plant, you're going to need earplugs. So yeah, I'd love to do this on a mass scale, but it is stuff that works. Let's just put it that way.
Sounds pretty amazing. It's like kind of like the sonic bloom, but on a more directed, more specific scale. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome stuff. I don't understand why we're not utilizing more stuff like that. It's amazing. Talk a lot about frequency and stuff like that around here with even crystals, adding crystals in with the soil, because they put off a frequency as well. But I've never thought, I wonder if that's one part of the reasons. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, this is clear quartz. Oh, wait, before my computer dies. This is clear quartz. Germans, they call it Bergkristall. So this amplifies anything that you want to do. And this is rose quartz. So rose quartz has a vibration of 432. Very good to have in your water. It allows for a very gentle energy to go into your plants. And then if you add that into any of your water, you increase that whatever other crystals you put in by massfold, basically.
That's awesome. So by adding crystals to the soil, do you think you can actually, say if you were to bury them at a certain depth, direct your roots towards the crystals?
You could do that. I prefer putting it in my water. I use other stones for the soil. And the reason I use stones is because roots, microbes live on them. You've got your roots end up, when you unpack, you see your root clumps around rocks, because they hold micronutrients, minerals, there's microbes, there's extra moisture, it's fascinating. The moment I started adding stones to my mix, my plants reacted a whole different way, much stronger. And then, I mean, what have I got here? And then, see, and then when you're mixing your OHN, so I find these things become a lot more available to your plants when you're using crystals and vibrations in your water. I don't know, my pH stays more stable for longer. I don't know. I just find crystals in the water. The thing about the crystal is you want the energy it emits. So water is everywhere. So by putting something into water, it replicates itself. Why do you think if you say to a body of water, love and abundance, and you drink it, it then replicates in your body, which is 70% water, right? So you don't need to have that energy in your plants. You can. I just use stones. They're cheaper than having crystals in every single pot. But now you can take all those crystals and put them in your water body. Then that energy emits in there, goes straight into the water, goes straight to your roots, goes straight to your plant. By putting the stone there, your roots have to find the crystal, then connect to the crystal. Then when the water comes, it does its thing and then goes up. That just seems a bit more complicated to me. I don't know.
I dig it. So is that kind of the theory in your mix? Is that part of the recipe that you kind of blew through what you were doing there, but is it kind of based off of this mentality of
All of it,
frequency and stones and stuff?
everything I do is based on, my friends like to call it pseudoscience, because they like tangible things. I'm like, it's energy, it's everything, even what I emit. I don't know if you've ever noticed. Go to your plants and have a thought. Think about one thing while you're with your plants and go away. Forget about that thought and go back to your plants. And I guarantee you that thought will come up the moment you walk to your plants. They have memory. This is why dragonfly earth medicine also say you need to go into your plant area with the right energy, because they're going to hold on to that. And it's the same when I'm making all my nutrients. When I'm making them, I mean, here's that full spectrum bloom ferment. There's the OHN. This one I don't sell at the moment, mainly for the fact that this is hard labor. This is expensive, and I don't have the time to be making this all the time. And I use this like all the time. Every foliar feed, every feed gets OHN. And the best thing about OHN or all products is you should be able to do that to every one of them.
How's it taste?
Amazing. Growing up in Europe, so on holidays we used to always go to Austria. So what happened was, and then afterwards, obviously living there, they have a lot of pharmacies that are based around holistic medicine. So when you have a cold, you take this liquid that's made from herbs and spices, and you put it on some sugar, hence where a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down, because you put them drops on because they taste like vile. But it's just herbs that have been extracted, the same as OHN. So this is why I actually, for my own gut biodome, I actually have a little bit of this every day, like you saw me dip my finger in. I taste all my nutrients except for jadam. And that's the reason why I like KNF, because with KNF, you can literally, right here, go, tastes great. It's sugary. It's got a lot of chili in it. But you can eat it. You can enjoy it. The same as vinegars. Here's my vinegar that I end up with. Well, this is my mother that's holding in there. Everything should be edible. The only reason why jadam is not edible is because it's putrefied. It's gone too far for the human body. But for plants, they have a different way of breaking down things. So
it is an amazing thing. I tell you, cannabis does enrich your life in several ways, man. I've thought about the plant in several different ways throughout my life, but I really respected it once I started to grow it. Even more so when this recent last year, I've grown it through several types of mediums throughout my career. I started in soil, cocoa, peat, pro mix type stuff. And this year I come back to soil. And I was saying this the other day. last night, as a matter of fact. Back when I was growing in soil before, it was just look at the label. You know, this has got what I need. And we were dumping out the pots in between grows. We weren't trying to necessarily understand what was going on there. We were just uh, trying to grow the plant. But this year, diving deeper into the soil and wanting to learn how organics actually works, microbes, fungus, and all that, it really was an awakening moment for me. And how the correlation between us and the plant, the microbes in the soil, it is kind of a whole process. You know, the microbes that are in the soil are the same microbes in your gut. You know, they may be the brain that puts the whole thing together, you know, in the soil. How we understand, or that might be what picks up and tells the plant that what we're present or we're thinking might be through the microbes in our gut, might be transferring into the microbes in the soil, telling the plant what the hell we're thinking. Why they're said to be the second brain in us. So your gut feeling. So why can't that gut feeling be transferring that through some type of frequency to the plant? Uh, you know, it's I've learned a lot, both spiritually and a lot about myself and how things work this last year, all through organics. And I'm not done, man. I got to microbes, and I kind of really that sent me sideways. I was like, I'm stuck on in this rabbit hole for a while, but it's fascinating stuff, man. Uh, I hope before I even like understood that, I was drinking a lot of kombucha, and making me feel great. And then I started on the organics road and started realizing, you know, it's the ferments. You know, you can actually give that to your plants. They keep those microbes happy. It's been a heck of a year, and it's nice to see more and more people waking up to how we're all just basically one. I'm almost to the point now where it's like I've seen that the plants aren't necessarily the source of medicine. Why almost eat the meat that's almost tainting the source of my nutrients and taking up so much more of the earth and water than, you know, it's almost like skip the meat, you know, why not just start eating the plants directly? But I don't know. It's been pretty awesome.
So that's one thing I'm trying to do, is like the diversity of what's growing around my plants as well. So I grew what's it this year, some what they call icicle radishes, like long white radishes, but they stick out a section on the top. So I want the radish to stay in the ground. So I break off the top and I just start chowing this top of this radish, and I was just like, this actually tastes really nice. You know, like it's fresh. It's just like 2-3 bites and it's done. And the funny thing is what we don't also realize, we think that vitamin D, B12 is such a elusive vitamin, and if you're not eating meat or if you don't have certain vegetables, you can't get it. It's actually in the soil that surrounds your veggies. So by knocking off that little bit of excess sand that's around, and then you eat it, that little bit of grit sand holds vitamin B12, grit for your stomach, stuff for your biodome. So you've just said it. Your plant, that is how your plants get that biodome into you. It's through the little bit of sand that's around your plants, or that's on the microbes on the leaves. I sometimes char my cannabis leaf. I walk past and char a leaf. Why not? Tastes nice. Put it in a salad a bit. It's forms of CBD in a way. I mean, it's a different breakdown, but it's still all in there. I try and utilize the plant as much as I can. You can juice it. You can even juice your bud, dude. You can juice your bud. Good for you. I think they call it THCA or THCB or something like that. It's a big thing in a friend of mine in Holland was saying. She was saying that, like, they're juicing bud now. It's like fucking awesome. Fresh bud juice. The plant has value in so many different ways. I mean, we're figuring out that the stalks can be used to make what's it? Hempcrete. Now, hempcrete has the ability to become stronger the older it gets, not weaker, stronger. Repels insects, keeps your house warmer. I mean, we have to agree. Major corporations did this in order to get their friends to make lots of money. So they legalized a plant that we went through. We've all been through it. You know, what did they call it? Marijuana madness. All those ads. Corporations are always going to win. There's until the population realizes that we have masses and they don't have numbers at all, we are always going to be under their control. Finished control. It's just work around it. Don't complain about it. Just work around it.
So we were talking about hempcrete, yesterday. There was a gentleman saying that it wasn't strong enough for like foundation like type concrete. Is that true? Is it strong enough for wall type material, but not strong enough for foundations?
I'm not sure about the foundations. I cannot answer that question with knowledge. I don't answer questions I don't have the answers to. With the bricks, I have spoken to some people. They say as walls, it perfectly works. I don't know about how far it can go with skyscrapers and stuff like that, because that's a whole different thing. I mean, these people pour cement and they have their own mixes to make them super hard and flexible. And so I don't know about that. I'm just talking about the general making a brick to build a house, like your normal one family home, not a giant mansion. I'm not sure. I can't verify anything on that. But the idea behind, I mean, it's a bit hard for people to be able to give information. Like even these guys who are making the hempcrete and all of that, it's such a new product, such an old/new product, but we haven't had time to test it. We haven't had time to put it under pressure. We haven't had time to build a foundation because we've just legalized. So we need to give all of these things time and test them, but we need to also give the people the space to do it, that it gets done, not just sit on the sidelines saying, well, this is possible, this is possible. Let's start building these things. Let's start trying it out. Let's put them under pressure. It's the only way to get it forward.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what the future holds with hemp and cannabis. So many possibilities.
I mean, I make my own creams. I put it in my toothpaste. I literally put it in everything. If it's in a cream, it's topical. If it's in your toothpaste, you're not really taking it into your body much. It is such microdosing in a way that it's more of heightening your body and making it function better rather than just using chemicals. That's how I see it. No, that's why I make everything myself, even my own microdoses. What's this? There's mushroom microdose, mescaline microdose, cannabis microdose all day.
So, I mean, you being so educated on the cooking side of things, it seems like that would be a natural combination at some point, or is that just too far in the past that your dad like a cannabis type restaurant in the future?
I was thinking about it at one stage and going down that line, but you know what the thing is that these other people can do it. I'm happy not to be in the hospitality industry anymore. It is something that a lot of chefs would tell you, if you've done 20 years as a chef, now I'm not talking about being an executive chef in a hotel where you sit on your ass. I mean, don't get me wrong, their jobs are hard, but it's all paperwork. It's all ordering, checking, making sure staff are doing. I'm talking about working on the grind. I'm talking about being on the line, cooking the food, making that whole side of things. I mean, yes, I ran restaurants, but it takes its toll on you. There's a certain point where you don't want to. I mean, you're there from what, 5-6 o'clock in the morning, and you leave at say 2 o'clock in the morning again. It's like, no, that lifestyle for me is done. I mean, I live by my plants now. Like literally, I'm up at 4, put their lights on, you know, my outdoors in the meantime, and I go to bed when 10 o'clock when they go switch off. You know, and that's my routine. I live by my plants. When I'm out of season, then I don't care. Then I do my own thing. You know, out of season, I take a holiday. But yeah, I enjoy growing, and I don't think I want to go back to restaurants. I never want to go back, actually. I go back to visit them. My problem is also, the irony of it is the moment I made the change over and decided consciously, there's a difference growing, like when I was growing for my dad, but to consciously now turn this into a business. Like, this is my future. This is what I'm doing. Fuck the world. I became lactose, gluten, and yeast intolerant. So for me to be a chef right now is pretty much impossible.
I can really respect that. I can really respect that, especially after the way you explained it. I mean, I kind of put myself in your shoes as you was explaining that, and that would be no different from me. I've been a carpenter most of my life. I like to think at this point I'm a master carpenter, but that would be like you telling me basically, oh yeah, they're building all your siding, all your all of your materials are now hemp based. Are you gonna go back to carpentry? No, I loved it. I'm kind of done with it just because it's now hemp. You know what I mean? I I can greatly respect it as you said that. I was like, I can completely see what he's saying now. So yeah, I get it. I completely understand it. Yeah, I'd
Talking
much
about,
rather be on the growing side of it all.
oh yeah, hands down, hands down. You know what? Even the torment of outdoor, of I've lost a half a plant because of root rot, or half a plant because, or a whole plant because of PM. Doesn't bother me anymore. Eh? It's like it's part of the journey. It's part of the whole. You have to learn. I mean, I think my first year growing outdoors, I think I aged about 20 years because I was so worried about every little thing. And the more I worried about it, the more my plants suffered. Now I just don't worry about it. Sorry, this bud is done. It's coming off now. I'm not going to try and save it. I'm not going to. There's 500 more of you. One is not a loss. You know, it's like learning that you need to know where to cut your ties. Where is that limit of you are going to allow this to continue, or you're going to cut short now? And I think when outdoor growing, especially where I am, so the flowering part of my season are afternoon showers every day. Not a fun thing to have to deal with. But where I grow, my altitude, my temperatures, and all of that gives me bud that is amazing. So you learn to live with what you have. And with that, you become more connected with nature, with Gaia, because she's going to bring the rain whenever she wants to. She knows what your plants need and how much they need. And what's going on, but it's also your responsibility to work with her. So if she's bringing something, you be happy for it, because there's no such thing as bad weather. There's only weather. And you were saying something, sorry, earlier about carpentry. So my dad was a hobby carpenter. And when I say hobby carpenter, damn, man, I've got a whole workshop full of tools that I don't even know. I know what most of them do, and I know how to use them, but I'm not a carpenter in that way. I have a full respect for how you guys do things. It's the thinking of joins and the thinking of, I don't know how sometimes, because the thing is we used to work a bit together. I used to do the job. I used to help him cut the planks and stuff, but everything fits together first on a piece of paper. Every join, every top, every bottom. And I think that just learning that part of carpentry helped me grow, actually, because it makes me think of everything. It makes me aware of, if something is not right, how it affects the entire outcome of something. Like my dad made me I wanted to build a little box, a jewelry box for a girlfriend. I made a mistake on one side. My dad let me continue building it until it was finished, to show me that one mistake, what it did to cause everything not to fit anymore, made me undo the whole thing and restart it again. And that process made me go, I don't like redoing things. My time is my most expensive commodity. So I don't want to do jobs 3 or 4 times. I want to do a job once, and I want to do it right. So that taught me, okay, great. When I plant, I'll do this. Because I want this to happen. Where's the weather looking like in the next 5 days? What's happening around me? Who's what? Before I do anything, it's all on a piece of paper. To make sure that when it happens, it's following a process that nothing gets injured, because plants get injured too, and they have feelings. And I don't want them to be in any pain, unnecessary pain. They sometimes need to be bent, but I mean, S&M, they love S&M.
That's pretty awesome statement there. Yeah, it's very true. What you said there, you have to have a plan first and see the correlation on how things stack up, and if it's going to be square, if it can hold the weight. I've never really thought about it translated to the plant like that, but again, I've seen it clearly as you spoke of it there. Pretty intelligent fellow there, my friend. I've digged your vibe throughout this whole thing. At one point, I put in chat, I'm like, you have to sub up to this cat,
The thing is everyone's job is necessary, and from everyone you can learn something. Like being a chef, I did not realize that how running a kitchen is like, it's like living life on God mode. You have to control everything, from who's doing what to who's frying what, to making sure that say for instance, I worked in a restaurant, I was running 50 staff. I needed to know at every point in time what 50 people were doing, and hopefully that they were doing it right. I'm overlooking 50 people. Now, I wasn't the chef that stood and sat in an office. I was a chef that ran around and sat over everyone's shoulder. Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, make sure that everyone's doing a job, help those who can't. And that again, if you take your job, you can translate it into your plants. I've got X amount of plants running right now. What have I got? In the moment, vegging plants, about 200. Now I've got 200 plants that are different phenos. Each pheno has its own thing. So I'm feeding slightly differently. This one needs more, that one needs less. So again, it's about how you deal with people, is how you're going to deal with plants. The only difference is you can shout at a plant, it's not going to kick you. It's not going to smack you. But if you manage your plant the same way as you manage a person, we as chefs are sadly taught very bad human skills. You are taught shouting at a person gains you respect where actually it doesn't. You know, it's all of these misconceptions. Chefs work in a very high stress situation where you don't sometimes have the time to turn around and gently ask the guy next to you why he overcooked the steak that's going to take him another 15 minutes to cook again. You'd prefer to elevate your voice and utilize a lot more colorful language. But I learned by the end that it gets you nowhere. And that translates into my plants. I don't need to be, it doesn't help me getting upset with them. It doesn't help me getting upset with myself because I've done something wrong with them. It doesn't, none of this matters. The only thing that matters is that every day you wake up, you are very grateful that I get to wake up and walk out there and look at these beautiful plants every day and take care of them. I'm a caretaker. I make sure they're fed, make sure they're taken care of, I make sure they live a full, happy life. I'm God, in a way. I see it. Sorry. Let's just be very careful how I utilize those words. I mean it like how I'm caring for something is my interpretation of how people should care for each other. That's how I care for my people.
It's a good mindset. It's a great mindset. So, what kind of cultivars have you found that work well for you there in your climate? The heavy afternoon rain.
So
that has to be tough to deal with.
Where I am, sativas take a bit long. I had a 14, 15 week sativa, and with the rain, it does work sometimes well, sometimes it doesn't. I prefer things around the 10 week mark, 12 weeks pushing it, just because of my weather. But cultivars that work really well, so your indicas work unbelievably well where I am. I mean, they get big, they get fat, they're stocky, they work well. If you're using your good inoculants, you can avoid the botrytis, because botrytis is a real thing here. Obviously, I said to you, where our rain season is in autumn, which is our flowering season as well. So I definitely say ethos genetics. I haven't had any major issues with. Barney's Farm, I haven't had any issues with up here. World's Strongest Strains also grows really well up here. Sensi Seed. So all of your top companies who I mean, Ethos now, I'm so glad that they started like really stabilizing their genetics, but they work in this climate. As long as you're using the inoculant, so your dense bud has your fungals inside it, so that if botrytis comes, it sort of helps. You basically have the worst botrytis I've had here was 1 year, a few years back. Oh, it was a terrible season. I think I lost about 35% of my crop just to botrytis. It was just literally going in the mornings and chopping branches, just chopping them off. There was nothing I could do. It would overnight go from hero to zero. And because my buds were, I kid you not, this is a normal 500 ml bottle. They're that thick and they're solid. So any moisture that fell inside there, you wouldn't even see it happen. So learning inoculants of Trichoderma, Subtilis, Bassiana definitely helps, because it sits in there and you spray it during flower. So it's always sitting in between your buds as they're growing. I had it reduced down to a loss of maybe 10%, you know. So it helps. And we have to figure ways out to live with this. I mean, the farmers around us, I mean, what was it, last season? We had a hurricane on the East Coast that hit. Now, I'm nowhere near the East Coast, but I had overcast and rain for 4 to 5 weeks. Like no sun for 4 to 5 weeks. The farmers were spraying the guy was telling me some mushroom thing as well, trying to stop botrytis. And they had last year, the farmers around us, I think a loss of about 20% of their crops, 20% and lower. So it's like between 10 and 20% due to the moisture, the rain, all of that. And my loss was minimal. My loss was seriously, I was completely shocked at the fact. But my plants get checked every day. I mean, we spend hours checking every bud, making sure everything is okay, so that the moment we notice it, it gets taken care of, or cut. But there was minimal. There was really, these inoculants work. That's all I'm saying.
How hard is it to get a crew with the mindset like yourself? That's got to be kind of tough.
If I let's put it this way, there's 2 of us working. Yeah, me and another guy, and he's my apprentice, and we do this together. There was another guy that was helping last year, but some people think women are more important than weed. So yeah, but yeah, in the mode to find people, it's not, I don't think it's difficult to find the people. I think it's difficult to find the people that are going to live nowhere for 6 to 8 months of a year to live in nowhere. I don't mind. I lived on super yachts. I've been the last 1.5 years. I saw no one. I just put my head down. I've been working, growing weed because I breed as well. Because I'm trying to breed things for this region, and I'm utilizing the stuff that I've grown from these other companies. And I've gone, okay, wow, you guys are stable. You guys work nicely. I'm going to take you. I mix it with you. So my strain is Master Maple. It's something I've been working on for 3 years. And I've now been starting to, so it's a hybrid. It started as a indica dominant hybrid. I brought it to a sativa dominant hybrid. And now I'm sort of 50-50ing it. But that has been, for me, on this property, been growing for the 3 years. So it is becoming a stable for the climate. It knows how the climate works. It's the understanding. And it's also, you must always take a bit of your plant and put it back in the ground where it grows. So it leaves its genetic print of what has happened in the season in the soil. So your next plant, when it grows, it gets that DNA information saying, okay, listen, your last season was like this. Be aware, these are the bugs, this is the fungi, this is the type of weather, blah, blah, blah. The next year your plant grows better. And then that's why you need to, if you've got a genetic you definitely like, continue growing it there and like seed it and grow it and seed it and grow it and seed it and grow it. And it starts to mold to its surrounding. And there's a few people doing seeds in South Africa, but I think there's very few that are actually taking the time to make something that is going to be a South African grow, like something that is stable for us. And that's not just a mix of other people's genetics. It's something that somebody has grown here for the place. And I think it's Lacania Seeds in Lesotho are one of those companies that I have a hell of a lot of respect for. I've grown I've grown some of their plants, or one of their plants, had a few seeds, and they grow beautifully in this climate. They grow well, and that's what we need. Because South Africa, we have very different climates. Where I am is extremely hot, summer rains. You go to Durban, extremely humid. Well, it's hot and humid here. I'm hot and dry. I have 10, sometimes 10% air humidity. I don't take care of my dry room carefully. I can dry my weed in less than 24 hours if I make a mistake. If I make a mistake, everything shuts off in that room. My weed can dry in 24 hours. That's how dry we are here. You go down to the Cape, there's a whole different climate. There you've got winter rain, summer's dry. So there you've got probably more your California style weather, isn't it? So how do you make seed for South Africa? That's the difficult one, because you've got different climates, different places. So I think people must focus on where they are. Like, I'm a high altitude. I mean, don't get me wrong. I send my stuff to be grown by other people just to see how it grows in their climate, to go, okay, cool, it works down there. I've got, so one of my strains is orangutan. And I've got her F1 in the moment down in the Cape growing. I've got an F1 in Joburg growing. And these are two different regions again. Joburg's close to where I am, but there is a variation. And I'm going to next send one maybe down to the Natal region to see how it grows over there too. Just to see how stable she really is. Because I can have a genetic that's stable on this property, but you send it somewhere else, and just because of the variation, it's going to become an unstable genetic. This is also things that sometimes I've noticed that people haven't realized is that you can, I've had like orangutan on this property I haven't had like, unless I push her to 12 weeks, she doesn't hurt me, doesn't do anything, perfect grow. And I'm interested, and I've done other genetics the same way. And they hurt me. They don't like this. But friends of mine grow them somewhere else, and perfect, no problems, fuck all. But here, doesn't like it. It's just, I mean, I'm fluctuating from last night. I think we had 14 degrees Celsius at night and 35 in the day. We're changing by 20 degrees every single day from morning till night. I mean, that's huge shocks, changes for these plants. I get beautiful colors, I get great terpenes, I get all of that from it. But for certain strains, it becomes extremely unstable. Extremely unstable.
I was just going to ask, and you said it when you said the temperatures are extremes there. I actually learned a little bit about summertime colors this year myself by throwing a plant out to re-veg that I had harvested and left little hunks of bud on there and stuff. You know, around here, most of us correlate color from like a temperature drop to cold. You know, get it down to like that 60s, a little bit less, bring out those purples and stuff. I never was aware that like a heat sway, you know, just in the summertime temperatures, not necessarily dipping down that far could bring out such colors, kind of like in your environment. I never even thought about that type of thing until this year, throwing the one out there. What kind of colors do you see representing out there in the hot heat?
Definitely, I start noticing on the leaf structures. I've got some reds that have been coming up, especially on this, like just the leaf stem. And then aiming into the leaf itself, I noticed. But then with the deep dips of the cold, all your purples come out, and your purples and reds are pretty much the two colors I've thrown out. A bit of blue, but the blue hue, not so much. But the oranges. Like the orangutan gets this nice leaf color when she starts to change over and gets to an ending. I've had one plant here that was spectacular. It was, I think it's somewhere on the bottom of my Instagram page. It just threw out all these colors like yellow, purple, red. This was unbelievable.
What's in the orangutan, and how do you come up with your names?
I had no idea. The orangutan, it was just came up to the name. I was just smoking it one day and I just went, this tastes like an orangutan. What's in the orangutan? I am not letting anyone really know what's going on in that little girl. It's like my master maple. There's certain things I'm just keeping to myself. These are, the thing is it's all about the pheno hunt at the end of the day. You can mix whatever you want together, but it's finding that one that makes it so special. But then it also, if you've got 100 people that know exactly what your genetic is, they can hunt, then they just find their own special. But if you want something that belongs to you and you've done a lot of work in it and you've spent the time on it, you don't really want everyone knowing how to make that. You want everyone to enjoy it and breed with it and do whatever they want with it, but how you got there, that sometimes I think should be special.
Oh, I can deeply respect that. I can really, really respect that. Half the problem I have with cannabis is the improper labeling of seeds, who made it. Is it a recreation? Is it a back cross? I think along lines we've lost, some of these strains, sour diesel, whatever. I mean, just for an example, how do you know it's sour diesel? Well, I don't know. I got it from this breeder. Did he breed it back out? Is it his back cross? You know what I mean? Through that process, I think we've lost a little bit. So keeping your ingredients proprietary there, I can respect that. I can respect that. It keeps the strain yours for as long as you want to keep it until somebody wants to genetically map it. And I would say at that point, if they're willing to go to that far, they really like it. They should have just asked you. But
Well, I'm also trying. I'm only doing a few strains. I think I've got in a total of 5 strains that I'm working on, and I'm happy to stick with these for now because I want to stabilize it. I don't want to let anything out that's not stable because I think it's just unfair to other growers, especially being an outdoor grower. You get a seed that's unstable, and suddenly Hermes. I had a seed last year. I kid you not. I was literally sitting every morning pulling male Hermes bananas off the buds, like every bud, like 10, ding, 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 because I didn't want to chop her down. She was a week to go. And I didn't want everything else to get fucked. So I just went through the work of pulling it. And I was just sitting there going, I never want anyone to go through this. I don't want people. I want somebody that when it goes, you get it, it comes out, it looks beautiful, smells like it's meant to, grows like it's meant to, and boom. No worries that your other plants are going to get fucked unless you make really bad mistakes. Because every plant, even the most stable plant in the world, will still Hermes if put into the wrong conditions. Or just the plant. I mean, the point of an actual Hermes is sometimes you're going through your plants, you find 1 or 2 seeds, like really, like in the whole plant, 1 or 2. It's your plant saying, I need to replicate myself. They're going to both be feminized seed. I need to fucking continue living. I don't want my genetics to end here. So they make something. So where do you draw the line? I draw the line in the fact that having somebody sit there having to clean off bloody things every day. That for me that's unacceptable. I'm not, like I say, I don't mention company names because I don't think it's fair on other companies because I may have done something wrong in their eyes. But I wasn't happy with that genetic, and I wasn't happy with the fact that they told me it was extremely stable, and I had planted it right in a prime spot. So that's why I went, listen here, I'm going to now work with a very isolated group. I'm going to mainly work with my own genetics. Yes, I'm going to have Hermes, but I know how to deal with them. But that's showing me who my plants are that I can continue and who I can chop down and let rest, if you know.
Are you going straight seed to soil there, or are you transferring clones out?
I do both. So I either go seed or I do cloning. It all just depends on how many mothers I want to keep, what the breeding program is, what the membership club stuff is, because I've incorporated the membership club with the breeding, so that whoever wants to be part of it in the members club can actually be part of the whole breeding operation. So they can get to taste the bud, leave their comments, make sure what they want to, you know, it opens it up to more fun. It's like, instead of me alone sitting here taking on a joint going, oh, I wonder how, now I can get all my members involved. Hey guys, try this. What do you think? Tell us, give us your feedback, you know, and it makes it something different. It's like, and you can utilize this in a really nice way, because I want to breed, and because I will be dropping genetics in the next few years. I can say, listen here, you remember, you get first pick. You know, like the first seed drop X amount goes to them on this day, and then the rest can go to the public. You know, you can really work it well with your membership group. And I'm trying to make something more fun for people rather than your average joint.
So do you decide what strains are being run, or is it kind of a vote of members what will be run from season to season?
In the moment, it's just me. My members so far just blown away by the quality, the tastes, just the fact that it's organic, that they don't really care. They've just asked for things like, they say, can we have more daytime weed? You know, like, can we more have like lighter stuff? Because I mean, I was throwing out 31%ers, I was indicas, and I've got a 27%er here. That one guy phoned me, said, I fell asleep after the third toke. The joint was still in my mouth when I woke up. I was like, great sleep. It was like, yeah, but I wanted to be a little bit productive. So it's, yeah, this is why I took my orangutan and I crossed it with something to make, just to make something a bit lighter for people. And so far, it's a bit of it's come out as it's winter bud. So it's a bit more fuzzy. But I don't know if you can, and this gives a bit of a bit lighter, a lighter high, you know. It's like you don't feel like you've been hit by a freight train, but you feel like you could actually go and do a bit of accounting. Whereby my master maple, I think, see, the thing is, my master maple was a project I started because I suffer from PTSD. And I wanted something to just like take that edge off when it kicks off, when you have you could say an episode, something that doesn't, at one stage I was like hitting a dab, and I found that, yeah, I took it away, but the problem is that would get anxious afterwards, just being too high. So I started mixing some things together, trying to find something. It just gave you a nice day high, I mean, it came, the Master Maple V version 2 came in at 16% THC, but like really nice terpene profile. So it makes you nice and goofed a bit and makes you a bit chilled out, but you can function. You can do your day, you can think, but you do it in a very relaxed form. And that's all I was after. I was just like, when an episode goes off, what can I smoke to chill me? Just take the edge off, but I can still function and do my day because I can't bail out. There's two of us. Nobody can bail. It's like I work weekends. You go until the days like I'll go away for a week. I'll go away for a weekend on business. He then has to cover. So that's how we balance it out, type of thing. And yeah, so my Master Maple, this is the new version is coming out, has just been harvested. I've got them again growing. I want to see how they grow into monsters. And I'll be in the next 3 weeks, I'll be tasting them and seeing where's that balance. Has it actually reached what I've wanted it to, and which pheno is the one to keep?
There's something to be said about the lower THC number there and a higher terpene profile. I think terpene profiles play a big part of it. It isn't always that 40% THC. That's a shock and awe number, in my opinion, for consumers that just don't understand what cannabis is. Uh, and it's very sad because some numbers can be very misleading for the consumer, especially as if they're trying to use it for medicine. They're very deceiving. Most people don't understand the terpenes, the individual terpenes, and how they play a role with them, much less what the numbers are in front of them all doubled up. So, let me cut you off. Go ahead.
So I was just going to say what you were saying is so important is find out what the terpene profile that works with you. I mean, you can actually harvest an indica that'll give you an active high, but picking those trichomes at just the right time, and by having that terpene profile that works with you to give you that active high, like limonene, pinene, those two, they send me going. Ooh, I feel like, and I can have them in an indica and still fly around the house. You know, like those are my terpene profiles. I mean, I have a girl here that's growing in the moment. Out of all the phenos, she was the only one that was completely different. Like nowhere near the other ones. She came out completely limonene, pinene, looks like an indoor plant, grows outdoor, looks like an indoor plant, but grows outdoor. Those hard nugs. Actually, I have one. I've got residue of a. I mean, where's it? Yeah, it's bad at that point. Here's a little one, and I mean,
it's a rock.
Hard nut, and it's a comes from a kush, but it'll send me going. I'll take one of those, and I'll be running around and talking to my plants and having fat conversations with them. And, yeah.
Nothing wrong with that either, brother. Nothing wrong with that at all.
No. Need to talk to someone.
That pine that's one of my favorite too. I'm right there with you. As far as that goes, I think that's like the perfect terpene profile for anxiety. Because anxiety, you both have, you kind of lock up with your breathing, holding your breath as things spin around in your head. You kind of get a little worked up in the direction you should take. But for me, in that pine, you take that first hit, and your kind of brain kind of fogs up with that hit. Your lungs fill up, sometimes a little bit past capacity, which I like about the pines. It's like a little jog, kind of opens things up for you. But as you exhale on that pine, it sends out your brain.
I think you got frozen on my end.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. You're back again.
Okay.
So yeah. No, don't stress, dude. I'm on a farm far away. I work on satellite blood, or like, so yeah, it's almost like satellite internet. When the wind blows, I don't get internet. So you were saying something about the anxiousness, which is very interesting. You know, like you're so right with the limonene and pinene does really bring that relaxation over you, without making you feel dumbed out. But it's always the fact of, what do you do from the moment that anxiety hits to the fact that you can get to a joint? And there's actually 3 funny things you can do. 1, stop moving your head. So you notice when you're anxious, you start moving your head like this, and stop moving your head. Focus on one thing. Don't move your eyes. So focus on a central point and stop moving your body. Sit down, stop moving your head, and focus on a central point. So by focusing your eyes on a central point, it stops to look for memories or stops to go through your brain. By stop moving your head will stop your body from feeling anxious, like it needs to be running away from something. Then while you're sitting down and you're rolling that joint, you do box breathing. Breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath for 4. Breathe out for 4. Hold your breath for 4. Do this while you're rolling your joint. You'll see your anxiousness will go away. And because you're focusing on your joint, your eyes, your head steady, you're doing that. By the time you light that joint will be 10 times more valuable to you in what you're going through than it was, because you've now controlled yourself and brought yourself down to a point that the joint now is actually for you just to enjoy, not anymore to bring down your anxiety. It's very cool. Or just jump in a cold shower. Wim Hof, hands down, best thing.
Man, I've been wanting to dive into that rabbit hole for quite some time. And I'm almost afraid to do it by myself, to be honest with you. That breathing technique he's got there, I'm almost gonna pass out at the end of it. Just gotta wake up on the floor.
It's amazing breathing technique. It's the holotopical breathing. Basically, I mean, I used to do it every single day, especially when my PTSD was bad. So I've gotten most control over my PTSD in a massive way. But and how I got there was through Wim Hof. One of the ways was through what I explained to you before. And the other one was Wim Hof breathing. Like, I dropped myself in 3 to 5 degree ice baths, stay in there 3 to 5 minutes, like really get out, do all his techniques, do the breathing. And I was doing it daily. I go up to 5, sometimes 10 cycles, really get into my own head, let out all of that emotion. Now in the cold showers, now those I still do. Every afternoon I will take a cold shower, do the breathing in the shower. But it's scary at first. Every day I go, I want to do this, I want to do this. Get in the shower, come out going, yes, I'm so happy I did that. And it keeps your mind. Anxiety is also your mind, or overthinking. Your mind's thinking about 100 different things and you can't slow it down. That cold shower stops you. You're going, oh. You can't think about anything else besides breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Great way to stop yourself from thinking. And then go to your plants afterwards. Dude, the energy you have after doing a 5 or even a minimum 3 cycle breathing in a cold shower, go to your plants. They will radiate love, dude.
So you just jumping in that cold shower? I ain't gonna lie to you. I've tried like the sissy Hof technique to just like take my normal shower and then just try to like wind it down to something chilly that I can take. You know what I mean? It isn't
So I guarantee you by the end of the second cycle, now how long does it take to get to a second cycle? It doesn't take long if you're breathing properly. By the time you get to your second cycle, you'll be standing in that shower going, oh, I think I can wash myself now. You must think your skin is your biggest organ. And what do you do for it? You don't do much. We put lots of creams on, but we don't ever tell it. So the cold water shocks it. It brings it alive. It opens, closes pores. It makes life occur. And this is very good for you to do daily because your skin, like I said, is the biggest organ, but we don't do enough for it. And by shocking it, you think it's horrible because you're suffering. Your skin's actually going, wow, this is amazing. And yes, it's at first it's uncomfortable and it's not good. Everything that is good for you is not meant to be comfortable, right? Some things are meant to be uncomfortable. Meditating is uncomfortable, but it's good for you. Climbing in a conch shell is going to be uncomfortable, but it's good for you. And you'll notice by the end of that cold shower, dude, I guarantee you'll be going, I need to do this tomorrow again. And when you stand in front of that when you stand in front of that shower tomorrow again, you will still have the same thought as the day before. I don't want to do this. And when you climb out, you have the same thought. I want to do this every day. It is amazing. And it's fear. It's just the fear of the cold, dude. And the funny thing is once your body balances it, it regulates itself. It will get there. So you'll stand there and suddenly be like, hey, this is actually okay. You jump in the ocean, don't you? No. Well, try a shower. Just climb in the shower, stand there. Don't turn the hot tap on, just the cold tap, and deal with it. It'll make you a stronger person. Pretty much.
All right, I'll give it a shot. The best can I mention? I'm already looking for reasons here. Northern Michigan well water. That water, especially this time of year, straight out of the tap, is freezing.
My shower water has a borehole, and it goes down far. So I think every time I measure my water, I think it's around between 10 and 15 degrees Celsius. And that I jump into. That's in the cold shower, go. But the best thing is do the Wim Hof breathing. Do 3 cycles before you climb in the shower. And the shower won't be as cold as if you start the cycles when you shower. It makes it a bit easier because you've alkalined your body, you've over-oxygenated it, and you've warmed it up.
Definitely give her a go. I like to try new things, so especially once I've committed. I hate to commit to something and not follow through. So I said I will do it. So I'll give it a go. Worst that could happen that I just jump clean back out and go, I'll never do that again, but I'll probably do it again, like you say.
Well, the thing is it works for your own mental psyche as well. Is that if you can endure standing in a cold shower until you feel comfortable standing in a cold shower, which takes you pretty much about a minute or two, you've overcome something in your own head. You've managed to overcome one of your own fears. And that is a dopamine. Firstly, your brain's going to give you a gift of dopamine and go, yeah, my brain, well done. And secondly, it allows you to, next time you look at a problem, you can go, well, I survived a cold shower every day. I can survive this. Like little things, little things like that can make a big change in your brain, the way you look at the world. Because right now, it's a scary thing trying to climb into a cold shower. And once you've done it, you're like, wow, really? It's like an ice bath. I shat myself. I was like, I had my pH meter, which has a temperature on it, in this water going, these ice cubes aren't melting. It's 3 degrees Celsius. Climbed in, do the breathing, and eventually I was sitting there going, I think I can put my head under the water. I held my breath underwater for a bit. Ended up being in there for 5 minutes at one stage. The fear had gone. I'd realized that it's only at the beginning, and then once you get over it, and then you can walk around and say you got pick the balls. You can go in ice water. That is a painful part of it, though. I'll just let you know.
It's got to be a very invigorating way to start your day. That's for sure. I mean, how do you go back to sleep, or how do you not want to keep continuing moving after you jump out of that cold shower? Seems like it's just setting the momentum for the day, or would set the momentum.
So I wake up literally bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. It's just the way I wake up, and then I'm functional until it gets too hot. Like by 10 o'clock, I don't work outside. 10, 11 o'clock, I don't work outside anymore. That's when I move all my work inside. So I do my office work. I do nutrients, whatever needs to be done. And that's also when I take my shower, because I fall asleep in the afternoons. I want to sleep. I don't like I don't like not being outside and working. So for me, it's like how most people would probably wake up feeling like, I need to wake up. And that's when I stand under my shower. It's still about 10 degrees water, and I just stand there, and I end up probably spending about 10, 15 minutes sometimes just under cold water, waking my body up, getting it really refreshed. And it feels like I've had a sleep, woken up, and I can be productive for the rest of the day. It's actually really awesome. And then when it starts cooling down again at about, say, 5 o'clock, that's when I go out and I carry on working again. And I grind it until 10 o'clock.
It's a pretty full day. That's a full day.
So
do you necessarily, sorry, brother. I was just going to ask if you grew basically things that you use for ingredients or nutritious feedings for your cannabis plants.
I'm doing that as well. Yes, I have a huge vegetable garden. So what I try and do is whatever we don't utilize, so I try and make sure everyone gets fed it's basically 2 families. My family is me and my mum. And then my worker has his family. And so I try and feed everyone here on the property. So I don't want to have too many expenses when it comes to vegetables. And then whatever gets left over, I take that and make nutrients. Otherwise, I then source my nutrients from farmers markets sometimes and stuff like that. The ingredients. It's just that I do grow a lot. So like alfalfa, fetcher, sunflowers, barley, oats. I grow those for the nutrients, but the problem is like we're making a full bloom ferment. You're utilizing a lot of stuff that I can't grow. I'm also in the wrong weather for and stuff like that. So then it's just easier to get those from the farmers market. And I would prefer my staff being well fed with organic, perfectly healthy food, the way it's meant to be grown, and I get my nutrients elsewhere than vice versa, in my eyes.
So when you first kind of said that you first grow out there, you just let them grow up like Christmas trees. style since the first grow.
So you were breaking up there a bit. Say that again. I heard growing Christmas trees.
The first grow, you said you let them grow up kind of like Christmas trees there. How has your method changed since that first grow? You still let them grow up just like trees, or you got bushes growing now? How has your garden changed or your grow changed?
So topping, just I love topping. I sometimes do it too much. I get carried away. But I like to grow big bushes, hedges. I prefer making that there are multiple terminal buds rather than being now that one cola. Like tabletop method or curved method or anything like that, where basically you have all your it's the same method they use in greenhouses and indoor, where you have like a shrog net in a way, and everything comes up and everything below is cleaned out. Because of my weather I have here, and the rains causing obviously the high humidity and then the extreme dryness and all of that, I need to make sure that I don't have too much foliage. So my first Christmas tree was like literally bottom to top. I just let it grow. I was like, woo, let's see how this baby can grow. And then afterwards it was like, okay, these are the problems that occur. Okay, it's by cleaning out this and this and this and this. So basically, I just have the end colas. I leave, when it goes into flower, I approximately leave anything from the last 4 to 5 nodes, depending on how I feel. Sometimes even just leaving the last 3 nodes. So you literally get this big fat cola at the end, and then there's nothing else. All the energy goes into one place. So there's barely any popcorn, but you have beautiful big nuns. And that's the method I prefer to grow now. It just alleviates too many problems with keeping your pH on your leaves correct. Because if you've got a big bush, like last year, I just really had these bushes. I was trying a method of leaving as much leaf foliar so that to see would that increase my bud size, even though I didn't have all the other buds, just having the end, but leaving the leaf all the way down. But I found it, it's much of a muchness. The problem is that your inner leaves have a different pH to your outer leaves. And then when spraying certain things, like so you can spray labs on there for your PM on your leaves, or even just to pH your leaves right, just chuck some labs, spray them with labs. And labs doesn't really bother your bud either. It doesn't change. I found it doesn't change the taste of mine. Sorry, I completely digressed there. So yeah, by having these 2 different places, it just caused too many problems with me. So by having the inside of the plant completely cleaned out, and you just basically have the outer foliar, you're only dealing with one section. So it's easier to keep the conditions on that section than having the internal of your plant as well. Because it's different, there are different micro atmospheres going on.
I can see that it's a good way to grow. A lot of people prefer that method myself. I don't necessarily mind the popcorn buds. I like to, I keep that necessarily for myself and my hash purposes. Not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's just they outdoors with my climate, they are prone to have the diseases first. So it just makes it easy. And anyway, I did a test one. I took the same plants. I took a clone from her. I planted them, grew them out exactly the same time, sent them into flower. The only difference was the one I let out grow like a normal plant, bud sites, wherever they wanted to be. The other one I cleaned out exactly like I want. So it looks like little lollipops. Like that one literally looked like little stalks, the bud at the end. It was this round bud and 2 leaves. So it's like little lollipops. And my end weight on both plants was exactly the same. The only difference was one had big nugs and the other one had small nugs. But exact same weight.
So what's on the board there behind you? Are those
Say
your
that?
strains? What's on the board there behind you? Is that your strains? What's growing on in the garden?
Yeah, this is my keep. So I did a chalkboard and I decided I'm better at writing on walls than writing on paper. So those are 4 genetics that I've been running. There's one that's actually not on there. That's the master maple. So those are the 5 genetics I was actually been working with this season. So one's a GMO mix. So it's a GMO Donny Burger that I was experimental. I just threw everything I thought I could on it. Eh? Then there's orangutan. I'm on F2 with her. This GMO is an interesting sativa I'm trying to work on. It's also got the GMO in it because she grows really well in this climate. And then this is just the orangutan cross that I said that a light sativa hybrid that more of a daytime smoke.
Is that the insane in the membrane? The INZ?
Insane in the membrane.
Yeah.
No, I wish that was. I did an insane in the membrane on another one, but yeah, no, there's certain crosses. I'm just in the moment keeping to myself where they're going and if they're going to be anything, because I don't like advertising something that becomes a nothing. She must be bold. She must be proud. She must be amazing. And then I'll go, this is her name. And then that's it.
Couldn't tame the insane. Couldn't tame the insane indoors. That Ethos genetics, man. I'd try to flip that girl and she'd go 7 feet in a tent every time. She'd just like bend over. Yeah.
That I've got still some. I still actually have some, yeah. This thing threw out massive notes. Now, obviously, this I don't trim my personal stuff. I don't trim until I actually make it myself. I mean, look at that, and solid, huge. I was so shocked by the insane in the membrane, and so. Basically, I took her, I mixed her with something, and that's what that is.
Yeah, that was my first go around with Ethos, and then I ran. I think it came with a freebie of that IOGOGO, which I really enjoyed. But them 2 strains, mainly the insane and membrane, because I remember at one point the kind of controversy around Ethos. How's he putting out so many genetics? And then I actually heard are some of them like GMO kind of modified. And insane made me wonder. Insane, it was so vigorous, it actually made me wonder. I'm like, how can that thing just literally grow 10 times the size of what I threw it in there and not like want to stop? But it was a good one. It was a good one. I enjoyed it.
Oh no, it's I gave some to a friend to smoke. I think he had 2 drags and I didn't see him for about 3 hours. Knocked him for 6. It was out, cold. Okay. No, it's a nice. I enjoy the smoke. I like to mix it. I like having it on its own. I do like dumbing it down a bit. It does. It's a very strong strain. So I do like mixing it. That one Ethos. What's it? Mandarin Skittles. Oh, it's one of my favorite strains. Jeez. That I mix into most of. If I just want because insane. What's it? Mandarin Skittles gives me energy. It's like one of those. It makes me feel cerebrally high. It gives me going. It gets me motivated. So if there's something like insane in the membrane, which I like the high, but I want to enjoy a whole joint. I don't like really doing half joints. I feel like it's like doing half the job, do the job, finish the job, smoke the thing, finish it up. So I want to still be functional. I still want to feel like I'm doing something. And so there's certain ones I mix that just always work together for me. And I have found that the indicas, the sativas definitely do better for me in the daytime, because sometimes I overdo indicas. 10 o'clock comes and I'm sitting on the couch and my eyes are red. I just want to sleep.
You've said a couple of things tonight that kind of made me think you're a little bit like myself there, and that is one that I do like to finish my joints. I kind of like, once I fire it up, I'm gonna finish it. I'm a finisher. I like to think I'm a finisher, or try to be. And the other thing you said very early on, which I've said quite a few times about dumbing down my cannabis, basically, like using it through like a grinder. I think grinder, like knocking the trichomes off, saving it for Keith. Why do I want? I've worked too hard on this. Why do I want to dumb it down? And the other thing was people talking about not wanting such a strong cannabis. I don't. It still doesn't make business sense in my head to go, okay, I want to buy a bag that's half as strong. You know what I mean? I want to pay just as much, but I want it to be half of it as effective. My point, I usually say what you said earlier, just quit, don't smoke the whole damn thing. You know what I mean? That's how you control it. You just stop smoking it. You gotta, but
we'll make those, what are they called? Pencil joints or toothpick joints. I got a friend, he makes these skinny little thing. I mean, like for you and me, it's like 2-3 drags and that thing's done. It's finished. And he goes, here, do you want to have a drag on a joint? And I'm like, no, dude, you finish your own joint, because just give me the weed. I'll roll my own. Because I roll a bat. I enjoy bats. I like how a bat smokes. I'll roll a small bat, a big bat, but not a pencil or a toothpick. Because literally, there's more paper than weed, and it tastes like it's like, no. Get your tolerance level up, boy.
I agree. And that is very important to me too, man. Even the way I roll my joints or break them up, I'm obviously, I think you feel the same way, because you're not necessarily trimming. I've heard a lot of people like yourself that don't like to break it up until that moment, because it's kind of keeping it just the way it is, intact. Kind of, that's your little gift. You get to unwrap it, and what you left is
it's meditation. So 2 things. I believe that keeping the leaf on the outside allows for less of the trichomes to be damaged and bumped off. And I'll notice on my bottles, the one that are full trimmed compared to the ones that aren't trimmed, I have more keef on the bottom of the ones that are trimmed than the ones that aren't. And then it's meditation. You take a thing out, and now you're going to spend time with this plant, and you trim it, and you get to look at the trichomes. And then I've got this little 100 thing here, and then I have a quick squiz at them and how they're deteriorating, how do they look, how they're holding up, how old is the weed, and the joint gets rolled. I mean, I'm still rolling with the old wooden from Amsterdam.
That's the best grinder right
there. The green grasshopper. I have a travel bag which has the grinder with the Fullman and all of that. There it is. One of these. And that's my travel one. When I'm at home, it gets ground into a little tub like this, and And then sometimes I'm left with some more, and ooh, look, there's a dozy breath, and then I'm like, oh fuck yeah, let's throw a bit of indica in there.
Man. So
Sorry, you're just breaking up there a little bit.
can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh,
now you're
man.
back again.
Okay, sorry about that. It's my internet. It's popped up. It said it was unusable there for a second. Man,
Oh, but
the way my cannabis smokes, I want it to smoke just like I grew it. So it's really important to me. I don't want to necessarily grind it up. As you spoke of earlier, terps are really volatile, man. You were trying to keep that flavor. So I actually like my stuff as chunky as I could get it. I actually like the bats or the pre-rolls anymore because you can throw them chunks in there, just kind of pack them in. But that's the most flavorful way. I like it just like a nice chunky joint. Keep all them trichomes in there as much as those terps as I can get in there. I think that this grinder right here I bought, and I actually took the time and I drilled out every one of them holes so I could
oh
get it as
wow.
close to like scissor like as I could get. But I don't hardly ever use this thing because I know I'm still kind of shaking off the trichomes there. It just, oh man, I just want to keep it all. I hate dumbing down my weed. I think these things are right along the lines of uh, spending that extra money on half as strong as weed. Why am I trying to make my weed half strength by grinding it all up, taking the terps out of it, and robbing of it a lot of the trichomes?
Well, it's like so I prefer smoking a joint. Bongs, I'll do a bong. I've got a bong somewhere. But pipes, like little pipes, I enjoy they because there you can chuck like a whole bud in, and then you take the whole thing, stick it in, light it up, and let it go. And then recently, I have a dragon. My entire back is covered in a dragon, right? Oh my word! Something flew in there today. So I had a guy. It's Praxis Glass in South Africa. I got him to blow me a hash smoking recycler bong. So I had it yesterday and I didn't empty it, and now there's a bug in there. It's so funny, but check here, it's got a dragon in it.
That's awesome.
So it sucks through the dragon and comes out the bottom and then goes up. I was like, fuck yeah. Yeah, so that's in the evenings I like to smoke a little bit of hash. But yeah, during the day, joints are just easy. I don't, a hit on a dab is just too much to be, I'm functional, but I need to focus. I need to know what I'm doing 24/7. I can't be uncopus mentis like that. And I don't think I enjoy dabbing. Like having a dab at night before, like in the evening or something like that, really nice, the feeling you get. But I think just during the day, I don't want to push my tolerance up because I enjoy smoking a joint. And it's just, for me, my personal thing is just too strong for me during the day. It's too much. I like to, I've got a whole farm to run. I've got members to take care of. I can't be stumbling around, wondering to myself, am I harvesting this one or is it still in veg?
I think it's more for me, it's more of a Zen thing. It's too much one way. It's all to the head with the dabs. I like with the joint, it's the head and the body kind of high. It's the whole package.
No, I got you there. And that's what I also like about the hash, because it's like he made me a little wand. So you heat the wand up and then you just touch the hash with the wand. You go suck, suck, suck. And you're like, well, not enough. I don't need much, I like I say, I mean, compared to some of the compared to some smokers, I'm a lightweight. And I like it. I like to be able to enjoy a joint. And I think this is the part where I think with extracts, I remember when I was smoking lots of extra. I mean, starting in the morning, smoking a dab and having a few dabs a day. It was like smoking actually, a joint was like ended up becoming smoking a cigarette. It didn't make me high. It did absolutely nothing. It was like I was just smoking for the fact of smoking. Then as soon as I took away the dab in the mornings and the afternoons and just kept it for the evenings, I noticed that I could getting high on a joint again. It's like, fuck, that's awesome. And that's just that's the way my body likes to run it.
You know, I've kind of said that something similar, or you know, I find that you wonder if necessarily we blame the cannabis for not working. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm getting used to this strain. I think it's got a lot to do with the person and the environment necessarily too. I found that I can sit here or not necessarily here or wherever and smoke all day and feel like, oh, this shit ain't working. Or be kind of go to the joint because I'm stressed or whatever. I need a break. I need to stop and smoke one. But I still haven't left the environment. I'm still right here or wherever and smoking, and it's not working. I'm still worked up. But I had an interview with Hoto Herb, and I was asking him basically, and it kind of hit me too. If he had if he meditated, he seemed like the type of person that meditated. And he said, you know, I do, but he's like, every time I use cannabis, I'm in fact meditating. You know, for one, I go outside, you know, and take in the natural environment, which is already taking my mind away and calming me. And then as I smoke, you know, meditation is pretty much controlled breathing. So every time I inhale, I'm doing it with intention. You know, I kind of
Very important. Yeah. Take deep breaths.
I was like, I never realized that. And what I found is like taking his advice is the weed was still working. I just needed to step out of my environment, out of my comfort zone, and you know, forget what I was doing for a second. And the same cannabis that I was smoking 10 joints a day, going, man, I've got a hell of a tolerance to that. If I like just took the second to just pull myself out of my environment and go smoke it, you know, think about other shit. I was getting tore up. Half as many joints. It was working. It wasn't, my environment wasn't letting up in between. So
that's my favorite is my first joint of the day, because that's when I take my walk around the plants. It's like the most calming joint. There's no work to be done. You're just taking a stroll through the plants and just checking how they're doing. Hey, good morning, and how are things going, and how do they look? And yeah, that's my favorite joint of the day, I can say.
So do you make your own hash there? Probably
When I
in the
have
middle of nowhere, I'm assuming.
So we're a big operation, so we don't always have the time to make the hash ourselves. So I do have in the moment 2 guys making hash for me. The thing is I like to find people that have the same passion as I do for what they do, because you can find people that are going to make you your hash or your extracts, and they do it because they want to get high, or they just want to, you know, there's no love behind it. They just see dollar signs, dollar signs, dollar signs. Let's do this, make money. And you can tell the energy in these people. And I've had somebody like that before. I just didn't want to work with them again. And then I found somebody else, and this I love this guy. He keeps me up to date. His love. He's like, oh no, it's too hot today. I'm not gonna. I don't care how long it takes you to do a product. That's got nothing to do. I need you to know that you're professional at what you're doing. Like, sorry, dude, it's too hot. We're having a heat wave. Can't make hash in a heat wave. No, that's fucking fair enough. That type of stuff. It's the professional behavior behind it. It's how you get treated. A lot of people can make a good product, but not a lot of people can treat you well and treat your product well. And that's what I'm after. So I've got two people that have that type of passion, and I'm so happy for them to do it. I'm just like, here, dude, I don't have the time right now. Feel the love, bro. Feel the love, And normally what I like to do is that I must do this the next time. I did it with the last one. I send a little package with, so you can smoke it as well, so you know what you're making.
Well, I can appreciate that. I'm sure they put out one hell of a product. I mean, if you're passionate about anything, you're putting
Some
forth
good
quality, anything.
fire in, fire out. But you need people that are passionate. I can tell. It's funny. I don't know if it's just the energy, or even when I smoke some people's weed, I can tell you straight away what type of, if they're in a good mood, if they're in a bad mood, if they enjoyed their job, if they didn't enjoy the job. You can get it in the smoke. It's the same in cooking. You can get the love of what a chef, or the hate of what a chef's actually feeling and how he cooks his food. And it's the same in the growing. Like, if I'm having a bad day, I don't go to my plants. Not their problem. I'm having a bad day. I get myself shit put together, and then I go back to them. That type of thing. It's like, there's certain plants I have for helping me there, where I'll sit and meditate with them, and they are that energy. But no, my cannabis plants, it's all love and joy and abundance, and love, dude. All it is, love, love, love.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I think that's why I believe recreational cannabis will kind of fall flat. There just isn't that love, that connection with the plant on the larger scale grows. Most of the people that I know that work at the recreational grow started bright-eyed bushy tail, but now are like the dream shattered, and it's like the 9 to 5 now, and they're not putting the love into the plant like they once did. And I think that does come out in the end product there. I think that's what's gonna actually make people go, yeah, it's good, but it's not that good. It's not as good as the craft grower. Put out all his heart and soul into it.
I think there are some people out there. I mean, look Russ Brandon. I mean, this does. I reckon, I have no doubt in my mind that man puts so much love, and he does recreational. I mean, he's taken organics to the fucking next level, dude. I mean, that shit that he pulls off. I mean, I listen to him all the time. I think he's great. I think his advice is immaculate. And I think he puts in the love, and you can see it. I think him and his team put in, on a recreational level, the love that is needed for those plants. Like, really, go and have a look at his stuff. It's fucking mind-blowing. And
there's always the exception to the rule.
Exactly. I wish there were more. The exception should be the people not putting in the love. And that's why I'm just trying to share with people. Here are people to look at who are putting in the love, who are doing it for that. And so people see that there's not only the dark side, because it can be viewed that way very much, especially with the generational changes. I mean, my parents, I fought a 20-year fight against my parents. When I say fight, it's like I stood my ground. I said, I'm a sweet smoker. And they were like, you're gonna go to hell type thing. And I was like, oh, then I go to hell. I stood by it until a point where when I started growing, my dad said, if you get caught, I'll take the blame. You know, it was like I stood my ground for that time. I mean, I didn't go through what some people have been through. I'm not going to even say my life was difficult in this game. It wasn't. My life has been a blessing in this game. And I appreciate that. And I'm very grateful for that every single day of my life, because there are these cannabis growers out there that have had very difficult lives. I mean, Russ Brandon was one, for example. I mean, he went to jail for fucking cannabis and still stands there and stands his ground. I mean, I take full respect for these people. It's the same as the club business in South Africa. You know, there's so many popping up, but the flagship one that started is got taken to court. They got shut down. They got, you know, they the people that have to now sit in court and fight the battle for all of us to be able to do what we do. Those guys, they're the ones that need the respect. They're the heroes, because we all know governments are going to end up going forwards. I mean, we are a poor country in the bigger picture of things. You're talking about a 28 billion rand, which is our currency, business in South Africa. You don't think they're gonna, I mean, the guys I've spoken to have all said it's all coming down to legislation. And it's just, how is this going to be rolled out? But it's going to be in some form or way, it's going to still happen. And these guys are to thank for it in a way. And I think I just wanted to say that. Sorry.
Say whatever you want to say. This is your episode, brother.
Yeah,
no sorries. No sorries.
It's just saying it's also good to point out the people that have taken the hit for everyone else to be where we are, and the people that have gone through the hard times and come out the other side still being good people. I'm just giving a shout out to all of them, basically.
We all appreciate that for sure. A lot of people did get in trouble for that. A lot of people still in the States, it's hard to believe here. I mean, getting in trouble for it, it's hard to fathom that. I've talked to people that here that I've tried to get on the show. And they're like, I'm still in a red state, I can't do it. It still kind of blows my mind.
I am literally standing in the way that whichever policeman rocks up at my gate has the choice to arrest me or not. Then I stand on my own in front of a judge 3 days later to say, this is what I'm doing, and he gets to decide yay or nay. Now, the friends of mine that I know that have been through that stage, as in the cops have come, they've arrested them, they've fucking taken them to jail, spent 3 days in jail, put in front of a judge just went, well, there's no ruling being made because of all of this, so we can't really rule on it. So we don't know what to do about the situation. So they get released, things just continue, but it comes down to that policeman. And that is a scary fact for everyone in South Africa to deal with as a farmer. It's like, what is he going to look like when he comes up? What is he going to do? I don't know. I have a folder that says for the police. Basically states my entire business, what I do here, and he can page through that and go, fuck you. Or you can go, okay, fair enough. It's
shitty. Hopefully that guy woke up on the good side of the bed. Everything was good before he walked out the door. It doesn't necessarily want to take it out on you because he had a shitty day.
I believe there is so much love and goodness on this farm that they're not going to do it. Let's put it this way. I've had the police drive in 3 times and then drive out because, sorry, they came to the wrong property, literally 50 meters away from 3.5-meter trees. I believe I'm being protected. And even I believe this until the day they even rock up at my gate. I'll believe this even if they take me to jail. I'll believe this even if I'm standing in front of the judge. I believe that this plant protects me as long as I give it its respect it deserves and treat it like it does organically and teach people how to do it right. And show people mainly that it's possible. You don't need any chemicals. You don't need any, you just need a little bit of time and a lot of love. That's all it is. And that's what it really, really comes down to for me. A little bit of time and a lot of love. Well, a lot of time because I love my plants. I think I must walk around my plants like literally 100 times a day. I just walk, go, oh, you guys are looking so beautiful. Oh. And there's so much planting going on now because I have to plant in stages. So I plant as a member comes and they register. Okay, cool. You get so many plants. Then I plant them. I have to plant them based on light so that the middle ones are going to be bigger than the outer ones because they get planted first. So lights with the lighting, because I have to supplement evening lighting. So they need to just grow at different levels. Because once they all go off, they all go off. Boom. Everyone goes into flower. And I have noticed something very interesting. So when I flick, I am at about 14.5 hours. I switch my light off from being at 18. Certain plants are extremely photosensitive. That drop will send them straight into flower. I've had ones that'll still wait until it reaches 12 before they flower. They end up becoming so ginormous, I don't even know what to do with them half the time. That's why every row has to be planted with the same genetic. Because you can't have suddenly one genetic over just going crazy. So I'm hoping that's not going to happen, but we're going to try.
How many harvests can you get a year out of your location?
I'm pushing 3. So I'm in main season now, and then I will be going into, so I have a pre-season which I just harvested, which is like a winter run, because it's like 0 to 3 degrees in the morning, and then it goes up to 20 to 25 degrees. And then you got your main season now, which I then harvest in February, March, April, around there, depending on the plants. And then I try and throw another run in just at the end, so it goes into a winter run. So it becomes like you get really nice colors and terpenes, not as big of plants. Obviously, my veg time is like 2-3 weeks only, and then because I have to force the veg, so I don't like to keep them in veg too long. And those are my 3 runs, and then I take a holiday. Some people like to run more. I know some people they run their greenhouses still into the winter. But I don't need to be working 24/7 all year round. I quit being a chef for a reason. I don't need to have that lifestyle again.
I can appreciate that as well. I think it kind of comes down to what quality of medicine, I guess, and as long as you're providing, for yourself and everybody in the membership there, why run that 4th one and have it be stocked or stored?
I also have another farm that runs my genetics for me. So I stabilize and then I send it to them. And then what they do is they run out. So they are doing the bulk of it. So I don't need to be focusing so much. So that's why I focus more on the pheno hunting. So I've got a lot of 1 strains, like you see, I've got like 5 strains running, but I've got 200 plants. So you see, it's like big pheno hunts, trying to find which is the best, and going from there. And then once I find them, I send it to my other farm, and They then go and they grow it out, and then they supply the bulk of it to the members.
Nice.
Yeah. And thank you so much for having me. I do need to really, really much get back to work again. I've got some guys I need to get them going. I see them staring me down out the window going, hey, hey. But thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to actually I'm glad we did it now. Last year I was running around. It was winter. I mean, it's not last year, earlier this year. I think we found a good time to do this. Thank you very much. It was such a pleasure to be here and an honor to have a chance to chat with you.
Me too. I wish I would have prepared a little bit more for this, got a little bit more rest, be more on point for you. But a couple of things I'd like to go over with you before you take off here.
Yeah.
There's a few shows, a few different shows on this channel. One is Spot, a panel type show as well, which we call Weed Nerd World, which is basically it's free for all kind of. Now that you've done the spotlight issue, you're the same Zoom link that I sent you is the same Zoom link for the Weed Nerd World. So Monday nights are Weed Nerd World, and any other nights, usually the time slot I reserve for myself for the channel is from 11:30 to 4:20 is showtime for this that I do daily. And if the guest doesn't necessarily take me to that 4:20 mark, then I open up the Weed Nerd World. Weed Nerd World is open up to just past guests. So 524 tonight, that means it's the combination of guests that could pop into Weed Nerd World. So hopefully you find some extra time, you get bored, you're on break, and just want to smoke some cannabis with some people in the community. The Zoom link is always the same. If you see Weed Nerd World in the title, again, Mondays is always Weed Nerd World. Come hang out and, chat some cannabis with us and smoke a joint. That'd be pretty cool. Again, no invitation needed, just you wanting to come.
So that started about this time. What is this? What time do we have it now? What time do you have it now there?
It is 2:19 here a.m.
Okay, so I've got 9, same. So you're okay. Yeah, that sounds like something fun. If I definitely find the time, because then it is obviously in 2 hours. 2 hours would be 9, 10, 11 o'clock my time. That means I'm probably indoors because it's far too hot. So yeah, definitely. If I find some time, I'm going to jump on.
That'd be awesome. And nowadays, actually, we're extending it. There's like tonight, Green 13. I'm opening it up to like past guests or the guests. If like basically somebody wants to come hang out and take the realm at 4:20 my time, they can keep it rolling as long as they want to. Today, Green 13 in the UK will be taking the realm at 4:20 and taking it for whoever, and it's long as he wants to go. There's a lot of people that participate in this community all around the world. Australia, South America. There's a Wally Wookiees down that way as well. It participates. Germany, the UK, United States, Canada. So the time slot just kind of builds throughout the day. So nowadays you'll be able to jump on a little bit later in the day after that, that hot time of the day. So it'll be open a little more available for you these days. And if you ever want to jump on and take it at 4:20 and hold the realm down, it's welcome to you now as well. So with that being said, I guess that is your introduction to Weed Nerd World. Again, anytime you want to. The last thing I'd like to get from you before I let you go is what I like to call the sound bite. This will be a commercial for your episode at some point, probably about a month down the road after everybody kind of hopefully doesn't forget about it. Basically, what I'm looking for in my edition or my version of it is, hey, this is Eagle, and I'm on fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 524. You can put anything before or after that, as long as it has that in the body of it. I would greatly appreciate it. I am recording now.
Do I have to put something there? Oh, no, it just says it's meeting. Hey, this is Green Hill Farms, all the way from South Africa. Episode 524, Talking Shit with Eagle. Fuck yeah. Did that go through or not? Hey? Are you there? I think you've gone frozen on my side. You there?
Shit. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Did that work on your side?
Yes, I had you the whole time. Sorry for such a terrible ending there. We might as well just call it to do while we still can. Thank you very much for your time. Hopefully we see you again real soon.
For sure. Thank you so much, man. And I hope you have a fucking amazing rest of your day.
You too, brother. For the rest of you guys, you can join me here in Weed Nerd World in a few. Fill your trays, empty your bladders, and I'll see you in a few for another work-filled episode for me. If not, then I thank you guys for your time. Remember, random acts of kindness do save lives. I'm a living, breathing example of that. Take some time to do something nice, please. Well, I'll see you in a few. Thank you. Okay. Good night.